Hey guys, Brian here from LCS. Thanks for stopping by the channel and this video, A Beginner's Guide to Collecting Comic Books. So I've been collecting books on and off for almost 40 years. I first started in the 1980s, mid 1980s, and at that point, grading comic books wasn't even a thing. And comic books basically, there was one issue per month, and 12 issues a year, with one annual. It was pretty straightforward. But then, like in the 90s, there were a lot of more crossovers and foil covers, and a lot of things changed. And now, today we see, a number of comics, being published, sometimes on a few times per month basis. There are a number of independent studios, and so the landscape of comic book publishing and collecting has really changed. So what I wanted to do today was give you 4 different tips on how to begin collecting comic books. So my first tip is collect what you love, right? So check out, some of the content that is available on streaming services or movies. So if you're really unfamiliar with comic book, characters and superheroes in general, you really want to kind of get a good sense for, what theme, what genre, what, characters that you really like, and then focus on, reading books about those characters. But if you're really new, you may not have an understanding of, what you really like, what you really love. So there are definitely a number of ways that you can, get a sense for these characters by watching, one of the TV shows on a number of the streaming services, or any of the big, movies, to kind of get a sense for what you really like. My second tip would be to borrow books from your local library. The library has a number of, options. They carry graphic novels. They have books on the history of comic books and, artists and comic book collecting. One of the great things about the library is most local libraries have the ability to rent digital copies. So from the comfort of your own home, from your mobile device, from an iPad, from your PC, you can download digital copies, read them. And one of the great pieces or features of a digital copy is that, you rent it for a period of time, 10 days, 2 weeks, and it automatically gets returned back to the library. So it's really a low effort on your part. And another great thing about it is there's no cost, right? Other than having the library card, the library membership, which is free, you have access to a wide variety of, digital content. And then if you actually go to the library, you have access to movies, to, books on, audiobooks, and all of the, great, novels and graphic novels that the library carries. Tip number 3 is start slow. If you walk into a comic book shop today, and have really never been in one, you might feel overwhelmed. There are so many titles, so many comic books being published, each month. You have, your majors, you have Marvel, you have DC, and then you have some of the independent, Boom, Image, Dark Horse. So there's a ton of new books that are being published all of the time. And so if you're not really familiar for what you're looking for, you could walk in and spend a lot of money on books that, after reading them, you may not be interested in. So I would just, start slow, take a small sample. Another great way to look at, new books or characters, is to, jump into some of the dollar bins. A lot of local comic shops have, discounted books. Could be older books or, damaged books. But if you're just really looking to get into the hobby and understand what you like, that is a great place to start. It saves you some money, and gives you a chance to kind of figure out, what you like and what you don't like. Flea markets is another avenue that you could go. A lot of flea markets sell, flea market vendors sell comic books. You can pick comic books off of, Craigslist, or, even yard sales. But they could, depending on what the person is looking for, that could get expensive. So, but it's really a great way to just sample different characters, storylines, teams at an inexpensive price. So, and the fourth tip that I would give you is to say start with a goal with the hobby, right? Set a goal. Maybe you just want to read books because you're interested in the content. And maybe a digital subscription might be, right for you. There's a few different, Marvel has one, DC has one, and there's some, Amazon has one. And so if you just really want to read without the collecting piece of having physical books, a digital subscription might be right for you. But if you want to read and collect, then obviously going to a local comic shop to pick up the books, and then you can read the physical books and then have them for in your collection. Start a collection. But I would also think about, what is your goal? Do you, like I said, do you want to just read? Do you want to read and collect? Do you want to buy and maybe flip books or hold the books for investment purposes? So depending on what your goal is, you should certainly learn more about, proper storage, the grading process, cleaning and pressing. And there are a number of research tools that are out there. Cover Price is one, Go Collect. Even looking up comics on eBay kind of gives you a sense for what they're selling for, what their value is. So you definitely, depending on, what your goal is with the hobby, you may, want to dig in a little bit deeper and help educate yourself on, like I said, the grading, cleaning, pressing, storage, and just understanding, how much books are going for, because the market is very, a little bit crazy right now, right? We're seeing some record prices on older books and even some new books that have skyrocketed in value because they're tied to a TV series or movie or speculation out there. So, so that's it. Those are my 4 tips for the new beginner. So let me know. Drop me a comment. Let me know what you think. If you are a new collector, what questions do you have? If you've been collecting for a while, what would your tip be? What are your recommendations for somebody who's just getting into the hobby? What would you recommend for them? How to get started, or how to, kind of hone in on what books or characters or, storylines that they, might be interested in. So appreciate all of the support. Please hit that like button. If you're not subscribed, I hope you would consider subscribing to my channel. It's free. It doesn't cost you anything. So thanks, everyone. Thanks for watching, and we'll talk soon.